everybody, my name is Solus Convoy, and today I'm taking a look at Mastermind Creations R53 Tyrantron Rise. That's their take on an IDW Stormbringer Megatron. It's a retool of their much acclaimed Optus Pexis, and I'm really excited to take a look at this guy. I got him off Shozy Store. I'll put a link in the description. I already put the box away in storage because I really like him. So the box is the usual MMC reformatted fare. For those of you who know what that looks like, it's pretty self-explanatory. But let's just get right in on this guy. Aesthetically, he is gorgeous. This is a retool of an Orion Pax toy, which is kind of crazy, especially considering it's one of my favorite Megatrons to date. But he is very pretty. He's painted in this wonderful silver, and the red and black is great breakup. The overall aesthetics and proportions to me as well feel really good. I think he fills in the frame a little bit better than Pexis does actually in terms of his proportions. And in general, I just find him to be really intimidating, and he's got a lot of presence, and he looks really nice because of it. One of my favorite things about this design, after all, it is from the Stormbringer comics, which I love, and it's got this really pure war aesthetic. He's completely fitted out for maximum destruction. You've got the missile pods and the thighs with the red, which is really nice. You've got these various, like, there's guns all from the tank mode. There's a turret here, there's missile launchers here, there's another array of missiles here, the aforementioned fusion cannon he always has. So it's a very, like, you know, ready to go design. He has these cannons on the back of his backpack as well, or on the top. So it's very, very much like armed to the teeth Megatron, and it's awesome. This mold is also super articulated, so let's get into that. But first, I want to take a look at that really nice head sculpt and that face. MMC often really delivers on the faces on their figures, and this is no exception really. There's just something about the way they sculpt, like the facial topography and the shape of like the mouth and the lips in general, that's just really nice. This is the smiling face, and it's got this really like sinister, almost like amused look that Megatron has. Probably like, you know, some stupid Autobot trying to, I don't know, make a name for himself or something before Megatron absolutely ethers him to the ends of the cosmos. But you know, it's just a really good expression. You can kind of really feel that, like, that maniacal tyrant kind of bubbling underneath that like placated smile or whatever. It's very nice. I really do enjoy how it looks. In terms of articulation, the head can get a lot of range up, and I'm already using the ab crunch. The head can get a lot of range up, and it can get a lot of range down. There's also something inside the head which allows you to like push it upwards. It kind of like increases the length of his neck, if that makes sense, and it really does allow you to get like a lot more in other directions, or like I guess you can look over his chest so he can really look down at you, if that makes sense. And it also allows him to get more up, but you can see that his neck is kind of extending right there, so that's pretty cool. You can just collapse it back down and he goes back to normal. Let me zoom out. So there's a lot of articulation here. I'm going to try to make sure I get every single bit of it, but no promises. Oop. There we go. Okay, so went over the head. The shoulders have a bunch of joints. There's a rise joint here that rises vertically. This is going to collide with his head, the part of the shoulder pad, but it can rise here and it can rise there, but only to around that much. So you already get this much up, and you haven't even engaged the main shoulder joint. Then you can engage the main shoulder joint, move that out of the way, and you can get all the way up there. So that's your maximum shoulder elevation. You can also mess with these joints here and then use a butterfly hinge located inside his torso. That gets you a lot of range back, and if you manipulate these, you can go even further back for transformation. And you can kind of try to get it over the chest plate and then use the main shoulder joint as like a fake butterfly assembly. I don't really know, it doesn't really work, but you can like mess with it. There's a lot of joints there. There's one swivel here, one hinge here, one hinge here, and the main shoulder hinge is here. Speaking of, obviously you do have 360 For the shoulder, you might bump the shoulder armor, but it is a full 360. This is, as I mentioned, a 90-degree joint right there. You do have, I believe, a 360. No, the bicep swivel stops right there. So it'll get you the full range, just not in both directions at once, if that makes sense. You get like 180 each way almost. You have a triple jointed elbow. There's a joint here, and let's bring the arm up like this. So there's a joint here, and as you use that 3 joints in tandem, it does expose mechanical detail, which is awesome. So there's a joint here, there's a joint here, and there's a joint here. So you really do have, see, this is the first. Let me zoom in a little bit so you get a better idea of what I'm talking about. This is the first joint right here, that pin, then there's this pin, and there's a joint inside here. So you get this whole triple jointed assembly for the arm, and it really does shine when you unlock that hidden detail right there for a 180 bend. The hands are also going to have a tilt at the wrist, and then all of the fingers are triple jointed. And they do have splay as well. So you're looking at a very articulated set of hands. These are stable and durable, by the way. I haven't noticed anything popping off or cracking or anything. They're very stable and durable, just like the original Pexis. So you get full splay, and then you get hinge, hinge, hinge. So there's a lot of jointage here. And the thumb has a ball joint here, hinge, hinge. So the hands are very posable, and you can do things that not many other figures can. They do feel better than Eris and Stray for those of you who are into MMC figures. Also, the shoulder pads can fully get out of the way. For the torso, there's a lot. There's a double hinge assembly here that you can extend that can get you all the way down right there. Can get you some back as well. It can also rock side to side and swivel here. The second part of the torso you can extend even more, and then you can get a hinge down there as well, or an arching back there, and this can also hinge, so you can get some crazy side to side. You know, obviously it's going to break the sculpt, but you can definitely get some crazy side to side. I didn't take full advantage of this in my pictorial in my gallery, and right now I'm kind of wishing I did. I just couldn't think of anything at the moment. I'm not even going to collapse that all the way. The hip skirts are on 2 joints. There's a hinge here and a hinge here. So you can move them up all the way like that. Let's do that for the other one. These are also on a hinge on the back, so they can hinge up or hinge down, like so. And they can go out to the side like this. The thighs, or the hips are on a double drop-down assembly, so there's a drop-down joint here, and there's the actual hip joint there. So you can drop it to here, and then you can use the ratcheted hip joint, which can get you, I believe, up to there, which is quite nice. I think you can push it a little bit more. You can also get a lot back, but you can only really get the backwards motion to here if you're dropped all the way down, so do keep that in mind. The hips can kick out to well past 90. That's a good ratchet. Do note that my ratchets had a little bit of play in them, so I had to tighten them. You may also have to do the same. There's a screw cover back here. If you drop down the hip and then rotate the thigh, which is your thigh swivel, which is 360, you can pop off this screw cover using a spudger and just give these a little tighten class. You can just tighten those, and they won't have much play inside the ratchets. The knees are double jointed and do also have a linkage mechanism. They are a little bit squeaky. There's a linkage right there, and they do get you the full bend. And then finally, the ankles get a ton of range, which is one of my complaints about Pexis. They basically get you like 60 degrees of grounding, which is awesome. There's a toe hinge, and they can move up and they can move down as well. There's really a double jointed ankle in there, so they can actually get a lot of the way out. There's a lot you can do with these, but yeah, they can just, if you finagle them out for transformation, you can really do a lot with them. So they are kind of unrestricted. It's kind of awesome. So Whew, that might be the longest articulation segment I've ever done for any review ever. He looks kind of discombobulated right now, but really just a very well articulated figure. One of the most posable Transformer toys ever. I will say the downside is there's a bit of a learning curve, but that is to be expected with a toy this posable. Accessories are a little bit simpler to go over, so I'll just include them here. He comes with this like halberd. He can two-hand it, one hand there, one hand there. They tab in. You can also remove this and then take the pommel off and put it back on here. If you want to make it a shorter sword, you can do that. He does hold it pretty well. I will say the only challenge is lining this up. And then he just tabs in and you can wrap his fingers around it. I forgot to get his thumb on the other side, but he holds it just fine. The main other melee weapon he has is his mace. And this is pretty cool. It's got a metallic chain. You can hold it the same way he holds the halberd. Is it? I don't know. I don't think that's a halberd. I'm messing up right now. The word is escaping me. Sword with long handle. We'll just say that for now. The mace is made of a soft, translucent plastic. It's like completely soft, which is really nice so you don't stab yourself, and so these don't break, I assume. And then the base is painted silver, so it's really nice how they like painted around the translucent parts. That's pretty awesome. You can also hold it like this. My one complaint is that because it's a free floating metal chain, you can't really like pose it at all. Also, it's a little bit harder to get tabbed in because it's only tabbed on one side. But like he can't really pose with this at all because there's nothing supporting the chain, so you can just kind of like dangle it, you know, like that. Like you can't really do much with it. So I do kind of wish that maybe it had like a bendy wire inside the chain or something. I've seen some people add copper wire inside the chain to make it posable, and I feel like that is an option you can take, which will accentuate this toy all that much more. The only other accessories he has is, of course, his alternate helmet. So for this, we're going to zoom in on his faces again. Right now, he is, of course, wearing his kind of a neutral-ass grin face. I don't know. It's like something between neutrality and a grin. He has an alternate silver head. And, I mean, this is cool and all. I greatly prefer the black helmet. I think it works great for breakup. You can also tab in the faces just on this peg right here. Same way for the other helmet as well. And here's his neutral / stoic face. And the way to remove these, the safest way, is to just push from back here and they slide right off. So I would recommend popping the head off the ball joint. It's quite easy. And then you can also put in the best face of the lot, in my opinion, which is his screaming face, and that is just sculpted wonderfully. It's painted wonderfully. I mean, the shaping of his nose, the way his face recesses, everything about this is just amazing. I really need MC to do everybody's faces. These are just, I think Megatron is doing these, and he's just killing it. Like, he's absolutely killing it. This is one of the best face sculpts I've seen in a long time, and I love using it with the black helmet. But I mean, just looking at him right now, you know, this is a little bit crooked, my bad, guys. He just strikes a lot of character with these faces. And that's it for the accessories, but I do feel like they are adequate. You can also remove his fusion cannon and put it on the other hand, but, you know, that's a feature, I suppose. Let me get some size comparisons in. He's probably not standing up completely straight, but in my opinion, you should always have an A stance in your size comparisons, simply because like a figure's height without an A stance isn't actually its height. It's not like you're actually going to display all your toys sitting straight up at all times, right? You need a little bit of an A stance. Here he is next to one of my favorite MMC figures ever. Their Thunder Promenon, which is their Machine Wars Optimus. I kind of view these guys as like the Megatron of yesterday and the Optimus of tomorrow. I've said that phrase like 4 times in the last like 2 days since I got this guy. So, big fan of how these two look together, even though they're from very different eras of MMC's history. Here it is next to a KO of Studio Series SS86 Optimus. So for those of you who own the SS86 Commander, that's how it will scale with that toy. This is the MD05 Shattered Glass KO. And here he is with my deluxe G2 Trooper and a Core class toy. Oh my god, that's not good. So very large, easily I guess the size of a Commander class toy, and I think it probably won't look great with very G1 stuff. So if you have like Pseudo Series 86 and you want a Megatron, this probably won't fit aesthetically, but he's awesome anyway. So I still think he'd look cool. I'm gonna get him transformed into alternate mode, and then we'll take a look at that. Here he is in tank mode. I will say getting a tank out of Paxis is again so impressive. I didn't like Paxis's alt mode much, if at all, and this is like a total 180 for me. I know to some people like it looks like not great from a distance, like the shaping looks weird. It's like a, I don't really know how to describe the shape of this tank. It's like an H tank or a U tank or whatever. It's a thing. I don't really know. But I like it. I like it. The treads are MMC's wonderful plastic treads, and they do roll completely, which makes it super playable. The turret can swivel in both directions about 45 degrees, and then it can rise pretty much all the much you want, though the sculpt starts to break, so I would advise against it. These are also posable, which is cool, and this is also posable. So for the most part, awesome. The general aesthetic is also awesome with all of like the details carrying over in both modes, and it doesn't really betray itself as a transformer that much. I think it's just really impressive they pulled it off, and even though like, you know, it's not like the most elegant design ever, getting there is also pretty fun. So I have to say I'm just a big fan of the alt mode. It's also stable and really secure. For some reason, my copy of Pexis, I had the original Optus Nox. The alt mode didn't feel secure to me at times, but this one really does. I don't know, the alt mode is just like, it's fun, I like it. And then on the original tooling of the mold, I didn't really care for it, and it felt more like I owned a really good action figure. But for this one, it does feel again like a transformer, even if this is kind of a half-assed tank mode to some. I just really like it. It's really cool. I don't know, I really do enjoy this tank mode. It's awesome. It's stupid and it looks bad and it's whatever, but like it's also awesome, and it looks better than it had any right to look for an Optimus Prime retool. And I love the plastic treads, even if they sound terrible on camera. There's no place for any of the accessories to store or tab in though, which I guess is a 0 out of 10, do not buy. No, I'm just kidding. But I just really want to get to my final thoughts of this guy. I'm going to start off by saying like, MMC clearly has a secret sauce somewhere. I don't know what they're feeding Megatron or whatever, but like a good head sculpt, again, like I've said, can save a mediocre figure, and a bad head sculpt can destroy a toy for me. A god tier head sculpt like this one, the face on this toy, perfection, unbeatable. Please let Megatron do more toys. Wonderful face sculpt. If this is even Megatron, I don't know who else MMC has in the designer dungeon that's cooking up faces like this, but please let them keep cooking, because the face on this toy is best in the industry. Paxis was fantastic. Everybody who's in the third party knows, they've all heard of it. This is Paxis, but better in every way. The ankle tilts have more range. The alt mode is more legible, in my opinion. The alt mode is more fun. The accessories are on par. The articulation is on par. It loses nothing. It loses the Matrix gimmick, which was my least favorite thing about Paxis, because you had to parts form the Matrix. So like literally good riddance, you know? Every single step of the way, it goes above and beyond the original tooling despite being a retool. And it's awesome. It's just fun to pose. It's fun to handle. And in a moment in my collecting career where it feels like every toy is something I don't need to keep, this just kind of reinvigorated that excitement about toy robots. It's cool and it's fun and it's expensive. It's $140. It's not cheap. It's not a full-blown masterpiece size toy. This is very much like reformatted scale. It's approaching masterpiece scale for sure. It's very close to the size of a masterpiece toy, closer to masterpiece now than it is to modern generations, but it's still not a full-blown MP Megatron. It's a little bit shorter than that. So again, budget accordingly. I will put the link in the description, but I do think he earns the price tag between the presentation value with the gorgeous sculpting and paint and just presentation overall with the articulation as well. The high parts count and the posability are obviously a big selling point. I think the overall holistic package is reaching the $140 price point, but I understand if that feels a little bit too expensive. Again, money, right? Toys are expensive. But it's a full-blown recommend for me. Zero hesitation whatsoever if you're mildly interested in this. If you want to wait for a repaint, you can do that. I'm not waiting anymore. I refuse to wait. I will say, though, again, I had to tighten the hip ratchets just a little bit. Not the actual ratchets themselves, but the play between the ratchets. Just one turn of the screws there, fix that. And I did also adjust the tolerances on his elbows. They felt a slight bit less friction than I'd like. So I added a little bit with water-based polyurethane to the bottom and the top elbow, since there's 3 joints there. I don't know. Again, big shout out to all the designers over at MMC, the ones on the TFW boards, the colorists, Lazy Azza, Griffith, Rick, Alex Kubalski. I don't think he worked in this one though. Makotron. Big shout out to everybody involved. Again, another banger. I fear that this is truly MMC century, right? They're really putting out figures that they have no business putting out. Retool of Optimus Prime into the best Megatron I've ever seen. God damn it. I really do hope we can get more reformatted. I'm patiently awaiting Supermax. And yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say. It's good. Go buy it. That's it from me, guys. Peace out.